canto, chapter 13, verse number 23. So whoever wants to read the verse can please kindly raise your hands. Canto chapter Venkat Narasimha Prabhu, Hare Krishna, please go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। नमो महद्वोस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो योभ्यो नमः वटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा गामावधूतलिग्ग सरन्ति तेभ्यं सोमस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. रेवती रत्नांगी माता जी,
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। प्रणाम माता जी। नमो महातभ्य अस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यः नमो उभभ्य नमः अवधुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा ग्रामवधूतलिङ्गः शचरन्ति तभ्यः शिवमस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू। मधुमय कृष्ण कांत माता जी, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो महद्भ्योस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नमः आवटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा गाम अवधूतलिङ्गाः चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवमस्तु राज्ञाम्। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे
थैंक यू कृष्ण। अंजलि माता जी, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। नमः महद्भ्यः अस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यः नमः युवभ्यः नमः अवटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणाः ग्राम अवधूतलिङ्गाः चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवम् अस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण।
थैंक यू। चित्रमोहिनी माता जी, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो महाभ्योस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नमः आवटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा ग्रामावधूतलिङ्गा चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवमस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
थैंक यू। मधु सोनी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। दंडवत प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो महद्भ्यो अस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नमः आवटुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा गाम अवधूतलिङ्गश्चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिशुमस्तराज्ञाम्। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। विजय कुमारी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो महद्भ्यो अस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नमः आवडुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणाकाम अवधूतलिङ्गः चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवम् अस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी। थैंक यू माता जी।
प्रफुल्ला माता जी, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो महद्भ्यो अस्तु शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नमो अवधूभ्यः ये ब्राह्मण गाम अवधूतलिङ्ग चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवमस्तु राज्ञाम्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी। थैंक यू माता।
हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू। नमो महद्भ्यो, ओके, यू डिड इट राइट। नमो महद्भ्यो अस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवाभ्यो नमः आवतुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणा गाम अवधूतलिङ्गास् चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवम् अस्तु राज्ञाम्। Namaha, all obeisances, Mahadbhya, onto the great personalities. Astu, let there be. Namaha, my obeisances, Shishubhya, onto those great personalities who appear as boys. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Yuvabhya, onto those who appear as young men. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Avatubhya, onto those who appear as children. Yea, all those who, Brahmanaha, self-realize in transcendental knowledge. Gam, the earth. Avadhuta Lingaha, who remain hidden under different bodily guises. Charanti, they transverse. Tebhyaha, from them. Shivamastu, let there be all good fortune. Ragyam, onto the royal dynasties or kings who are always very puffed up. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personalities, whether they walk on the earth's surface as children, young boys, avadutas, or great Brahmins. Even if they are hidden under different guises, I offer my respects to all of them. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties that are always offending them. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Rahugan was very repentant because he had forced Jad Bharat to carry his plantain. He therefore began offering prayers to all kinds of Brahmanas and self-realized persons, even though they might be playing like children or hiding in some guises. The 4 Kumaras walked everywhere in the guise of 5-year-old boys. And similarly, there are many Brahmanas nor a Brahman who transverse the globe, either as young men, children, or avadutas. Being puffed up due to their position, the royal dynasties generally offend these great personalities. Therefore, King Rahugan began to offer his respectful obeisances unto them, so that the offensive royal dynasties might not glide down into the hellish condition. If one offends a great personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not excuse one. Although the great personalities themselves might not take offense. Maharaj Amrish was offended by Durvasa, who even approached Lord Vishnu for pardon. Lord Vishnu would not grant him pardon. Therefore, he had to fall down at the lotus feet of Maharaj Amrish, even though Maharaj Amrish was Kshatriya Grahastha. One should be very careful not to offend the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Din Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Taptakanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सादि और भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमामि विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personalities, whether they walk on the earth's surface as children, young boys, avadutas, or great Brahmins. Even if they are hidden under different guises, I offer my respects to all of them. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties that are always offending them. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, which is called as the Creative Impetus, chapter number 13, almost towards the end of the chapter. What is this chapter called as, please?
Further talks
Between
Conversation
King
between
Rahugana
King
and Jada.
Rahugana and Jada Bharat.
Further talks between Maharaj Rahugan and Jad Bharat. So who's speaking this verse to who?
King
King
Rahugana is speaking
Rahugana.
to
Bharat.
Rahugan is speaking to
Jada
Jad
Bharat.
Bharat.
Jad Bharat. So what did he speak yesterday? What did he tell yesterday? Or what did he speak yesterday? Maharaj Rahugan to Jad Bharat. What did we study? What did we study yesterday? Am I audible? Hi Krishna. Krishna.
Yes, Mata.
Krishna is Adhokshaja.
Very nice. Well, tell me more about Adhokshaja.
Krishna was addressed as Adhokshaja. It's not able to understand him with the material senses.
Yes, so basically Maharaj Rahugan was appreciating the fact that only by surrendering and taking the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee can one understand the secrets of pure devotional service. Otherwise, or secrets of pure devotional service to Adhokshaja. But this is where our philosophy, understanding, or knowledge, or speculation fail. Okay, so here he's again offering his obeisances to all the great personalities, and specifically on behalf of the entire royal dynasty, because they are always offending them, as Maharaj Rahugan offended Jad Bharat when he was asking Jad Bharat to carry his plantain. What is the first offense of holy name. There are 10 offenses, right? What is the first offense which is stated?
To blaspheme the devotee.
Blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for the propagation of the holy name of
Holy
the
name of the Lord. What is this offense called as? What is this offense compared to as? Anyone knows that? What is this offense compared to as? We studied this somewhere in, huh? Say again?
Hatimata.
Hati Mata. What does Hati Mata mean?
means the elephant uproots the whole
A mad elephant.
Garden.
Okay, it means mad elephant. If you leave a mad elephant in a very nice garden, it will not be the same, right? The garden will get all hither and thither. So, Hati Mata Aparad or mad elephant offense is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada explains us, that offending a Vaishnava or offending a Brahmana is like a mad elephant. Why? Because it actually damages us, damages our Krishna conscious life. There are so many examples in the Shastras. One example Srila Prabhupada is giving. Even though the devotee might not take the offense, actually they never take the offense, but Krishna will take the offense. And there's a little bit of a talk that what makes Krishna take the offense if the devotee is not taking the offense. But give me some example. One example is here when Maharaj Ambarish was insulted by Durvasa Muni. Maharaj Ambarish was peaceful, but Krishna took the offense and Krishna wanted to punish Durvasa Muni. Any other example that you can think of where a devotee or a Brahman or a Vaishnava was offended?
Parikshit Maharaja offended Shamika Rishi.
Yeah, we can say that. Yeah, external. So whatever happens in the life of a pure devotee, we can say that it has two aspects, external reason and an internal reason. The external reason was that Maharaj Parikshit did that. He repented though, right? But internal reason was it was Krishna's play, so that Sukdev Goswami will speak the Bhagavatam. Okay, what else? Any other example?
Draupadi
Jagai Madai, yes, they offended Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to behead them. Yes. Any other example?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Srinivas Acharya.
Okay. What about Srinivas Acharya?
Mataji, he had gone to listen to that Bhagavatam and Dev Datta, I don't remember the exact name. Then Srinivas, he had gone to Srinivas Acharya had gone to listen to the Bhagavatam, and then the one who was reciting the Bhagavatam in that association, the devotees, he started crying over there after listening the Bhagavatam. And then the devotees of the reciter, they threw him out, and then he was offended like that way in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay. Okay, maybe I don't recall, but thank you. So also in Srinivas Angan, someone else?
Shechi Mata she offended Advaita Acharya.
She offended Advaita Acharya. When?
Because her son Vishwa. So he was because he was made into take sannyasa by the influence of Advaita Acharya. She thought like that.
So she was angry at Advaita Acharya, but she didn't offend Advaita Acharya, did she? I don't know, Mataji. I can't say it.
Thought like that. That's why.
Huh? What she?
Thought like that. That's why she was made to take, fall into the feet of Advaita Acharya.
Okay. And also Srinivas Angan, where the Ashtakaliya Leela was going on. What was the name of that devotee? Gopala Chapala? Was it Gopal Chapal? Gopala Chapala, who kept the paraphernalia for worshipping Devi, which included wine, on the doorstep of Srinivas Thakur. And then he tried to make him disrespected in the neighborhood. Srinivas Acharya didn't take any offense, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu outcasted him and let him suffer with leprosy and cursed him that you will suffer for, I don't know, like 1 million of years. Even if you seek forgiveness, you're still not coming back. So he got leprosy, and then he died alone in leprosy, and he went to the hellish planets. Mahaprabhu is very like strict like that. Right? There's so many examples where a Vaishnava was offended, or a Brahmin was offended, and once spiritual life was completely banished. So it was like completely banished, that we cannot like come back unless and until one really seeks forgiveness from the Vaishnava itself. But seeking forgiveness from Krishna is not enough. We have to seek forgiveness from the Vaishnavas for offending them. In Kali Yuga, we are excused from the mental offense, but what happens is whatever is going on in the mind does come out in the body language or words or our interaction with other people anyway. So we do these kind of offenses. Okay, here Maharaj Rahugan is becoming very, very aware. He's becoming very, very like attentive to his behavior, so that he's not offending any of these personalities who may be looking like young children or young men. Like we have the four Kumaras who are roaming around like 5-year-old boys, or Avadutas, like Jad Bharat himself is an Avaduta, right? What is the meaning of the word Avaduta? Avaduta means what? It says that children,
He's
young men.
oblivious to external world, but he is very having bliss within himself.
Yeah, so they're not agreeing to follow the rules and regulations of society. Like Rishabh Dev was Avaduta, right? Or Jad Bharat is an Avaduta. But so we need an eye to be able to recognize who's a devotee, who's a great personality, who's a real devotee. One time I asked this question, actually this time only in Vrindavan when I went to Shivindavan Prabhu, that how do we figure out who is an authentic devotee? Because in Vrindavan there is a lot of like confusion, right? This is so-called. There's a lot of confusion, like everybody's worshipping everybody and nobody knows who's real, who's not real. At least I feel like that. So I asked him. So Shivindavan Prabhu said that generally we are trying to judge someone who is superior to us in many ways. Generally, that's the tendency of the mind. So because we are trying to judge someone who is superior to us, we will never be able to understand that person. So how do we know whether someone is genuine or not? We can only introspect and see, when I associate with this person, am I becoming more and more Krishna conscious or not? Is my own Krishna consciousness enhancing or not? That we can figure out. So if we feel that, really authentically feel that, and see the change also, then that devotee is worth associating with. Otherwise, you still pay obeisances and go away. Or if somebody is a complete lecha, like we have in the pastime of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, when that the one tantric or somebody who was claiming itself to be Jagannath, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur slashed him, then that is different. That scenario is different. But we are here talking about how do we recognize a devotee and how do we become very, very attentive to not to offend a Vaishnava or a Brahmana. And one devotee taught us that we are always very, very careful to not to offend other Brahmana or other Vaishnava, but we are always offending ourselves. Right? So we're always offending ourselves. Oh, Sachidanand Maharaj said that. One time he was taking our class online in Gitanagri and said, we're always offending ourselves. Like we're always saying, I'm not doing enough, or I'm underconfident, or I can't do this. Right? So I'm also trying to be a devotee of Krishna. So Sachidanand Maharaj opened some book of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Don't ask me what book it was, but he read to us from it that Bhakti Vinod Thakur is writing actually about self-care. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is writing that let me also pay obeisances to my own self, who is trying to become Krishna conscious. I am paraphrasing it. This was not the literal thing, but this is what we understood. So try not to offend yourself as well, okay? Because you are trying to become Krishna conscious, and might as well try your best You know, you're trying, might as well do the best you can in this life. And then let Krishna magic also happen. Okay, so understand that offending a Brahmana or offending a Vaishnava is a mad elephant offense, because it actually destroys one's own life and nothing happens to the other person. And understand that how do we recognize a Vaishnava or a Brahmana? Also understand that if somebody is not following the norms of society, like people, Prabhupada say, right, that they say that we are not working, we are not going to offices, then how are we getting all these cars and big establishments? So Prabhupada says it's an envious world. It's an envious world. They have to be very careful. If we tell them you can also come and join us, that they don't want to do. Right? Prabhupada was in Los Angeles and he was talking like this, that they don't want to do, but they want to find problem in our lifestyle. So be careful. And also be careful to not to offend your own self. I think I'll stop here. Any questions, reflections, realization? There's something in the chat. Living in Kulia during Sri Chaitanya's pastime, Devananda Pandit gave professional reading of Srimad Bhagavatam tainted with Mayavad philosophy. Oh yeah, I know this. I heard Bhagavad Gita, began crying, fell on the ground, disturbed by the foolish disciples. Okay, yes, thank you. Vraksheshwara Pandit, intimate devotee of Sri Gaura Raya Devanand, understood divinity of Sri Chaitanya. Yeah, he serves in Krishna as Bhaguri Muni. Yeah, that I knew. Actually, there's one more pastime, because Advaita Acharya had started to associate with the Mayavadi philosophers in the banks of Nadia. And no, Advaita Acharya, no, I'm so sorry. Advaita Acharya was giving discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam. And what was the pastime? Krishna, help me. Who was speaking Mayavad and Mahaprabhu?
Advaita Acharya was speaking. Advaita Acharya
Advaita, I know. Okay. Advaita Acharya was older in age to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And chronologically, Advaita Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on the request or prayer of Advaita Acharya, who is Mahavishnu, right? So Advaita Acharya is older in age to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chronologically. But Advaita Acharya always treated Mahaprabhu as superior. Now, Mahaprabhu wanted to be treated as Advaita Acharya's junior, but Advaita Acharya won't do that. So, Mahaprabhu played this discourse. At that time, on Nadia, there was a lot of Mayavad going on, right? But Advaita Acharya used to give Bhagavatam classes every day. So, one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go to his classes even as a young boy, right? So, he went to Advaita Acharya's class, and he started speaking about Mayavad philosophy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Advaita Acharya scolded him. Advaita Acharya scolded Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu said that my life is perfect because now you're treating me as your junior. All my life I wanted to be treated as a junior. So it was, of course, like a play, which is not literally the thing that I was asking, but this also happened that in Chaitanya Leela, the Advaita Acharya was made to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted this kind of mellow in the relationship. Any questions, reflections, realizations, or corrections? Am I audible? Can you please tell me?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Vraksheshwar Pandit was the one who Mahaprabhu used to say, right? He would dance and dance and dance and dance. And then Vraksheshwar Pandit, like Mahaprabhu said, Vraksheshwar is like a one wing. So if I had two wings like Vraksheshwar, I will fly. Something, because Vraksheshwar Pandit would dance and dance and dance and non-stop. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be doing Harinam and he's dancing and dancing and dancing like a bird. And Mahaprabhu said, if I had wings like Vraksheshwar Pandit, or if I had one more devotee like Vraksheshwar Pandit, then I will have 2 wings and I will fly. Yes, it's in Adi Leela, right? Okay, so we go to 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita from Gita Life by Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj. And 18th chapter is called as the perfection of renunciation, and it is summarized with the acronym SMILE, SMILE.